Welcome back, everybody. This is Sports Zone. I am Muftao Nabida Abda, and tonight I'm doing it with Sitio and Daniel Cranton. And I don't want to mention the second name, you know, if I try. So if I leave it as Sitio, is enough, isn't it?
Sitio is okay. I mean, everybody understand.
You wanted me to say Shisho.
You are lucky you could.
I'll say, okay, so tonight I'm here with Philip.
Which name?
Tonight I'm here with Philip.
Which name will you struggle to mention? Is that Trim?
Ashrim.
Not bad.
No, say the food, the Sitio.
Sitio fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
It's fair.
Fair.
Charlie,
you don't eat okro. I just better do fetre. No, do fetre. I know. Fetre. Three. That is okro in Ebe. Fetre. So okro soup is fetre dechi.
Fetre?
Dechi means soup. So fetre dechi. That's okro soup.
Dechi.
That's right. So if you eat a lot of okra, you can do fe.
So...
He's got it.
Gentlemen, welcome.
Yeah.
Charlie, what's up? Everything cool?
Great. We're buzzing.
You don't look fine. I should say, Madam, we dress some more.
Oh, Madam's for there.
You being dress you.
But he dressed already.
Madam, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for dressing him. Let's start with the world release. You stayed awake. I saw that report you wrote after day one, but the boys were able to come back strong. Day two, secured qualification. When you watched the day one race, what was going through your mind, and did you believe that these boys could secure qualification to the Olympics?
Yeah, you look at the format before the start of the competition. You knew that even if you didn't make it on day one, you have another opportunity in day two. So I knew it was 2 chances for the team to be able to progress. The only disappointment for me was the fact that they were not able to smoothly transition the baton and then finish the race properly. They eventually finished, and I like that about them, but the time wasn't enough. I wasn't too concerned about them not making it on day one, because if you look at the field that they were battling against, it was a very tough field.
Yeah.
And for me, I even took solace in the fact that as at the time there was a baton mix-up, Ghana was in the top 3 at the point in time in terms of the splits, we were in the top 3. So that was 2 very good runs before the third changeover. So you're talking about Fuseni and then Butsu trying to hand it to Azamati. So for me, it was simply about completing it, just getting the baton across, and I knew that we'll be able to qualify, especially when the late Saturday, in fact, early Sunday morning, when the pairings for the day 2 came out and I saw who Ghana was going to face. You just knew that, look, once we're able to smoothly get it across, we are beating everybody on that field. True, the boys came out and they were absolutely brilliant. If you look at the split times, you could tell that, for me, it's the best that each and every one of them have run this season.
Yeah.
I know Azamati is not necessarily on form, but he ran the fastest split time in the third leg.
Yeah.
Anybody else.
They're all those,
And it just shows you that they all gave their best when it mattered most. And thankfully, we're in the Olympics again. It's almost become normal. It's like this group of guys they've sport us back-to-back Olympic games. They qualified for the final of an Olympic just last in Tokyo.
Yeah, in the last Olympics.
And they went to a World Championship final also. So these guys they sport us, and for me, I'm so happy for them, especially when you consider the limited investment that we put into them. Yet they keep on coming out and they keep on delivering at the highest level. So kudos to them. And now we have something to watch at the Olympics.
We have something to watch at the Olympics. Sitio, just take a look at that highlights that we are going to witness, and then you share your thoughts on what you saw. Wow. That first race from Fuseni, 10.69, a youngster, just a few years ago, was at St. Augustine's College. Now, the biggest stage for him, he was able to keep his nerves and run that. And you have Isaac Boichio doing 9.13. On that back straight, Josefa Paul Amoa, 9.35 on the third leg, and the man who anchored home. Sitio.
Spectacular. And for me, it's listen, as a country, we've not done much for them to be even qualifying to the Olympics. So a lot of the credit has to go to the boys themselves. They've kept themselves in shape. They have prepared for this moment. They missed a couple of opportunities to have qualified for the Olympics. But when this opportunity arrived, and on Saturday early morning, the unfortunate drop of the baton happened, it was very disappointing for many Ghanaians, and you can imagine it. Because it wasn't for the lack of pace in the team, or it wasn't for the lack of ability in the team, but it was just that technical.
Yeah.
And it quickly reminded many of what they saw in the African games, where Ghana could have easily won the 4x100. But again, it was just that slight delay in swapping the baton or changing it that cost them. So it quickly reminded people that what is it about the transitioning of the baton that consistently costs Ghana. But if you follow the team, if you've seen the progress these young men have made, you knew that on the second day, the chances were that they could go through. And when you look at those that were going to run against the country, with great respect to them, and look at the time that some of them had run.
Saudi Arabia, Korea, Nigeria. Nigeria and the Netherlands were the threat.
Actually. Yeah, they were. When you look at the squad, the list of countries that Ghana was going to compete against, it gave me a lot of hope. It gave me a lot of promise that if the boys could technically transition the baton well, the pace wasn't going to be the problem. How fast they were going to run wasn't going to be the problem. The problem was only going to be because the relay has never really been all about the fastest team. Yeah. Sometimes teams are not the fastest, but when it comes to transitioning the baton, passing the baton on, they get it so smoothly on that they gain extra seconds than teams that have mishaps in doing so. Yeah. So the question then was, can Ghana get the batons going smoothly? And in the end, the answer was yes. And that is why Ghana is going to the Olympics. Congratulations to them.
And just a quick one on the various,
the split times?
Not the split times, the various athletes and their positions, as in who ran.
Yeah.
Now, when you're running that curve, it's a skill. And you see a lot of 200-meter runners, fast runners running that curve. Asamoah is not a 200-meter.
He's not. Now, I was actually surprised to see him in the third leg.
The thing is, Botsio this year has been brilliant. If you look at raw speed this year, if you look at his times at school, he's been absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I'm sure that the coaching team had to make a decision. Asamoah is not in the best form as it stands. Yeah. Botsio is in blistering form. Who would you want running that back straight, the more comfortable? Botsio is also a flat 100-meter expert, just like Asamoah.
Has more experience, maybe.
More experience. But in current form, he's faster. Yeah. So it's better to put there and down. Asamoah must make a sacrifice, run the bend, and do it as best as you can. Yeah. And for me,
he nailed it.
For me, in terms of speed, yes, Botsio was the fastest. But in terms of who had to go beyond themselves, I'll put that one on Asamoah, and a big salute to him, because I've not seen him run it.
Exactly, and then I was actually saying earlier this morning that the technical team, the decision to actually ask Botsio to do the back straight.
Well, that backfired.
The interesting thing is that it didn't just work. It worked out
it was
yes.
Because Botsio ran the fastest split time in terms of the back straight across. Asamoah also ran the fastest curve across, not just in terms of Ghana. Across all the teams that running on day two, he was faster than anybody on the bench. So it worked.
And once he was able to pass the baton on to Joe Paul, right?
Joe Paul, for the anchor.
Just knew.
Oh, for the anchor.
You just knew what was coming. So
what was going to happen. And I saw people saying that Fuseni was the slowest. You could have done a sub-10. I was like,
who runs a sub-10 on the first? How many runners run sub-10?
From the fence.
That's harsh.
And in fact, I kept reminding people, you have to go back to London 2012. In fact, when Jamaica did the world record, 36.84, he did 10.28. Carter. He did 10.28. Yeah. So to start and do a sub-10, come on, it's quite different. These boys have made us so proud. And then the crowd said that they've spoiled us.
But Fetu sounded more excited than the athletes. He was more excited than those who were doing the running.
Maybe because they have qualified.
He knows we've been Paris.
You've been Paris.
and that's what I keep telling people. You have no idea why Ghana media is very frustrated when sport is not doing well.
Yeah.
Because if our athletes are doing well, it opens incredible opportunities for Ghanaian journalists to go to these international games. What would he be doing in Bahamas if Ghana had nothing to do there, really? Why would he be going to Paris if Ghana doesn't qualify? Why would I go to Qatar to cover the World Cup if Ghana is not there? Why would he go to Cote d'Ivoire if Ghana is not doing well at AFCON? You didn't get to see the Ghana play in the final, but you were there to see Cote d'Ivoire play in the final. Yeah. But you would have wanted Ghana to be there.
Of course.
So when we speak about getting our athletes and our teams to perform well, sometimes it's because we are looking at the career path of Ghana media men who can, through the national team doing well, also grow their careers. And the first time Ghana made it to the 2006 World Cup, it completely blew Ghanaian journalists, those who were practicing at the top at that time, because all the international outlets were calling them to ask for information about the team and the players. These are the opportunities people are looking for.
In fact, one of the few people who was able to...
But you were working for FIFA, so at the Qatar. So
exactly what I was going to say.
He was working for FIFA.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Making documentary. If Ghana doesn't go to the World Cup, we don't get that gig.
Why not for Black Star?
Yeah.
When that email came and I saw the email, I was like, wow.
You reach.
Wow.
He's spotted.
When it comes. Let's go on Zoom and speak to Fentio, who has joined us from Bahamas. He's not sleeping. He's awake. Fent, thank you very much for your time. Just a quick one. You have interacted with these boys. Prior to that race that we saw this dawn, what was going through their minds after they dropped the baton?
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Bahamas.
Charlie Sport, see your swag, Charlie. Swag, black watch, Charlie.
No doomsday here.
Oh, you can take off the accreditation tag. We know. You can take off the accreditation tag.
No water shortage. Nobody.
But 2 days later, your skin come like that. Charlie.
No doomsday, doom sword.
No more tweeting at 2 a.m.
Man, you're doing a great job.
I have not tweeted about Doomsaw in the last 1 week. Oh my God.
Oh, bro.
But yeah, listen, guys, it's been amazing. Listen, even before I talk about the track and field, look, all of you, when you make enough money, take your families out here. Now I understand why everybody, like lots of the rich people, vacation here. Turquoise blue waters everywhere. God created. It's like the beaches we have in Ghana. It's not the same as the beaches they have here, and I don't understand that bit.
So you have to ask God.
Man.
If Sicho comes here, he won't go back to Ghana.
Speak for yourself. No, but you said you're not coming back. Didn't you say you're not coming back?
You know, to be here, Muftaw, I wanted to show you guys the outside, like the beach, but it's so windy. You wouldn't hear anything I have to say. So maybe towards the end of it, when you no longer care about my opinion, I can show you the outside.
Hey, but now we care about your opinion. Let's go.
Anyway, yeah, listen, day one was very difficult. When they dropped the baton, it was really difficult, especially for the two young members of the team, Isaac Botsio and Ibrahim Fustaini. For Azamati and Jopo, they have been involved in this team many times. And in fact, the two of them, I was making fun of them. I said that they are very experienced in getting disqualified. And that is true because in the last 10 races or so, Ghana have been disqualified 4 times. It's a very bad statistic, and it's pointing to a really bad trend that has to be addressed because they were disqualified in Silesia in the final. They got disqualified in Tokyo at the Olympic Games in the final. They got disqualified in Birmingham at the Commonwealth Games, and they got disqualified at the World Relays here as well. So, and all of them for very different reasons, not for the exact same reasons. Silesia and Tokyo were for the exact same reason, which was lane violation, exchanging the baton at the changeover zone. Birmingham was not their fault. It was an official's negligence. And then over here, they dropped the baton. So this was actually the first time they had dropped the baton in all the last 5 years that this team had been racing. All the other previous DQs had nothing to do with dropping the baton. So, so in other words, the two of them basically turned into motivational speakers. I had a conversation with them earlier today. It's an interview that we'll play a little later. and they spoke about the impact of social media. In fact, as Bosio told me that thankfully the internet and the Wi-Fi at the team hotel was really terrible. So he says thankfully he didn't even have internet, so he was able to block out all of the noise. But Azamati and Joe Paul, not so much. They could see everything. And I remember talking to Azamati yesterday morning, and when he saw me the first time, the first thing out of his mouth was, but people say they should come out me from the team inside, no problem. So they were very affected by what happened yesterday. But anyone that has followed track and field, you know that these things happen. And that's why I went on to tweet that I actually thought that the second heat, they were not only going to qualify for the Olympic Games, but they were going to win. And if you look at the time that they run, 38.29, it's not even the fastest. And you can understand why that race wasn't fast, even though they won. There was hesitation. They didn't stretch the changeover zone because each athlete had to stay back a little bit and make sure that they just got that baton across to the finish line and then see where it happens. And thankfully, they got it across in first position. But in hindsight, 38.29 after Italy got disqualified yesterday, in yesterday's final, Ghana's time would have been good enough to actually finish third in the relay final itself and not just the Olympic qualifying event. I think in the overall relay event of all the races that have been raced, all the 8 races, Ghana's time ranked number 5 overall among all the 32 countries that were here for the World Relay. So it wasn't even the fastest by Ghana's own standard, but it was still among the fastest times here in the Bahamas. But the most essential thing is that they came here to try and qualify. It didn't happen on day 1. It happened on day 2, and that is the most important thing. The disappointing thing, however, is the fact that, we talk about, and that's what Joe was talking about, that when it comes to, when the country's athletes do well, the journalists get even more excited than anybody else because then you also get a bit more opportunities. Unfortunately, this thing, I saw them, the Ghana's High Commissioner to the Bahamas was here a little earlier to interact with the team. They had absolutely nothing. In fact, they had to pre-finance this trip because the ministry didn't even give them money. They just gave them a flight ticket, and that was the end of that. Now, qualifying to the Olympic Games, let's be honest here, it's a big deal. It's like qualifying to the World Cup. And we all remember what happened to the Black Stars when we qualified for the World Cup. Daniel and I were there in Nigeria. When they came back, the presidency hosted them to a dinner, made all kinds of promises to them, even asked that the coach be maintained. I bet you right now, if they ask the president who is Ghana's track and field coach, he doesn't even know who that is, let alone to talk about him being maintained. And that is, and nobody's saying give what you give the Black Stars to the athletes, but give them the most fundamental things. Because after the qualification to the Olympics, what is next? You saw the interview when I asked them about what has to happen if they are to do well in Paris, and all of them started to literally beg the government to try and put them in a relay camp. It shouldn't happen, because for a year, or in a year where we hosted the African Games and boasted about winning our most medals and creating all these facilities, 80 days to the start of the Olympic Games, Muftar, we still don't have a single athlete that had qualified for the Olympic Games. This relay team became the very first to actually make the qualification mark and book a spot in Paris. Without them, potentially, Ghana could have gone through this year without qualifying a single athlete to the Olympic Games. And what have we done for them? Absolutely nothing. They're going back empty-handed. They didn't even get per diems. They didn't get anything. They just left. And that was that. They qualified. Everybody, we celebrated together. We shouted. We sang ole, ole, ole. And they've gone back like business as usual.
This clearly brings me back to the point, Fentio. This brings me to the point where I say that we jubilate, we celebrate in success, but we forget that we are doing so much injustice to this group of athletes.
Absolutely. Because look, those that came here that we were so much interested in and so much focused on trying to beat, Team USA have been in relay camp for a long time, for the past 3 weeks in the lead up to here. And this is USA, who have some of the fastest sprinters, and yet they have been in relay camp for the past 3 weeks. Great Britain, where they moved camp to Miami. They have been in Miami for the past 3 weeks. Italy were in relay camp for 1 month, and then they moved the relay camp from Italy to Miami. And now I mentioned Miami because Miami is just 1 hour from the Bahamas. The weather is the same, everything is the same. So Great Britain went to Miami, Italy went to Miami, Japan came all the way down here to the Bahamas, and Japan had been here for the past 3 weeks just preparing for this competition. And those are the countries that we need and we will be facing at the Olympic Games. And those are the countries we have to come here and race against in order to qualify. And yet this team, in fact, half of the team that competed at Penn Relay was not here. So in other words, this team has not actually been together or had any prior race in the lead up to this. Also, as you're aware, the ones that were in the African Games, only Azamati and, of course, Joe Paul were the only two that were present at this relay. So the inconsistency and the inability to put the team together and give them consistent training and getting them very comfortable with each other is why we keep experiencing the mishaps of Saturday. But if we could get those acts right, I think we will do very well at the Olympic Games. One other thing that I need to point out, and this was very confusing when I put out the split times of the various athletes in the relay, and then people were just misinterpreting them. Of course, so in Ghana's split, Ibrahim Husseini did 10.49 on the opening leg. The backstretch was Botsio, he did 9.13. Then Azamati did 9.37, and then Joe Paul did 9.12. So people look at that, and then they read it on the surface of it and say, Joe Paul and Adibosio were the fastest. That's not how the split work. Okay? So listen, let me just do this brief analysis for the benefit of everybody that is interested in how the splits work. Now, the one that runs the first leg is starting off the block. Okay? So that person's time would usually, more than often, would be the slowest. You understand? So when you see Husseini's time is 10.69 and you think that it wasn't fast because you see Botsio doing 9.13, that is crazy. Because if you compare that time, the 10.69 splits that Ibrahim Husseini did, he was the fastest of the block out of all the 8 athletes that started that race. In fact, the Nigerian also did 10.49, exactly the same. So 10.49 with the Nigerian. And this is how, like, the analysis of the whole race and how Ghana won the race. So Ibrahim Husseini started off for Ghana and did 10.49 in his split before he handed over. Then the Nigerian also did 10.49. So in other words, both the Nigerian starter and the Ghanaian starter handed over at exactly the same time. Now, when Isaac Bosio took the baton and the Nigerian Ekanem Consider also took the baton, Bosio did 9.13 in his split. Now, listen to this. The Nigerian did 9.12. So the Nigerian ran faster than Bosio in that back straight. Now, the back straight is fast because obviously you're standing there and running the straight is easier than running a bend. Anybody with basic understanding of track and field knows this. When you're running on the straight line, you're faster than running in a curve. If you say I'm lying, get out on the street, run straight, and also try to
Nobody's challenging you. Nobody's challenging you. Go on. Nobody has said you're lying.
No, he vex. No, you see, I clearly get what Fentu is.
The frustration is boiling on social media and everything.
Because you take a look at what people were doing on social media, and you're wondering if they actually have a clear understanding.
That's why I appreciate
people are like, people were doing they are doing sub 10, and the starter is doing 10.69. I was wondering, even the world record, which was set about 12 years ago,
but Mufta, that shouldn't be a worry.
Did not do that.
That is why this platform is there.
You went through the blog.
Education. After today, I'm not sure anybody complains. So, thanks, please. Yes.
And this is why I went to tweet that the race was won by Azamati. So you see, so now there's also cumulative time. So by the 200-meter mark, when Bosio was handing over to Azamati
Nigeria
and Ekene handing over to his Nigerian counterpart, Ghana ran the first 200 meters in 19.82 seconds. Nigeria ran the first 200 meters in 19.81. So you know who was faster. So you know by the time that Bosio was handing over to Azamati, Nigeria were in the lead.
Yep.
The numbers are there, they don't lie. And Nigeria got that lead in that back straight because the first leg was equal. The second leg was where Nigeria got that lead. Now, this is where the race was won. When the Nigerian handed over to their third leg runner and Bosio handed over to Azamati, Azamati's bend, which is the most difficult leg to run in the relay, it's really difficult. You can't run it as fast. In fact, let me even give you an example. You all remember the famous Jamaica world record run in was it 2015?
2012.
2012.
I believe you're talking about
Johan Blake to, yeah.
Listen to this. We all know, and everybody remembers, that it was the third leg that won Jamaica that particular fight. Thank you. But Fraser, who ran the back straight, actually ran a faster split than the time that the third leg runner, what's his name, the Rasta man?
Johan Blake.
He ran faster than Johan Blake. Can you believe that? He did a 9.07 and Blake did a 9.08. And yet everybody knows that the race was won by Blake. And Blake was faster than Fraser. There was no doubt. So that tells you that the bend is much harder to run. Now, when they handed over, like I said, Nigeria were 0.01 second ahead. When Azamati took the baton to run that third leg, he did that split in 9.35 seconds. Do you want to know the split the Nigerian did? 9.57. So that's where he caught up with him and opened the gap. He did 9.35, the Nigerian did 9.57. So he closed the gap. He didn't just close it, he closed it and opened the gap widely by a huge 15 seconds, 0.15 seconds, I beg your pardon, before he handed over to Joe Paul. Obviously, Joe Paul consolidated Ghana's lead, ran 9.12 in his split. The Nigerian did 9.12, and it was game over at that point. So listen.
Hang on a minute. The Nigerian who finished, though, thanks.
9.35. His leg was actually how we ended up winning this race as comfortably as we did.
Are you saying that fence? If I heard you right, are you saying that Joe Paul and his Nigerian counterpart both ran the same time?
Yeah.
No, the Nigerian did 9.19.
So Joe Paul also opened the gap.
Okay.
And then the Nigerian 9.19.
Okay.
That was Carlington.
Yeah.
Carlington did 9.19.
But if you look at all the splits, the biggest gap that Ghana got
was
came in the Azamati leg.
Yes, when Azamati decided to floor Akintola.
Brilliant.
That's brilliant work from Fed.
I mean, nobody does it like he does. It's incredible.
Athletics is in his DNA.
Look, get coconuts on the beach side and
and I hope it will not cost $500.
I know, I see what they did.
Oh my goodness.
We've all heard from Fentio.
One more thing, Mustafa. One of the, the app. One of the best things about this relay. On day one, I remember tweeting that on day one, the 4x1, no African country made it.
Yeah.
On day one to the Olympics. And somehow on day two, every single one of them made it on day two.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Every single one of them made it on day two.
Nigeria, South Africa, Liberia, Ghana.
Yes, so Nigeria did women, and Cote d'Ivoire did women. They both qualified on day two. And then, of course, Ghana qualified on day two. And the men, Nigeria qualified on day two. Liberia qualified on day two. South Africa also qualified on day two. So in the 4x1s, Africa is taking automatically 6 teams out of the 16 that will be there at the Olympic Games. There are 2 more slots remaining. It remains to be seen which other countries will grab those. But it was really amazing to see. And that group celebration that you saw, that was my doing.
Yeah, you started
because when Team Ghana came to the mix zone, they were just jumping, celebrating, but there was no rhythm to the celebration, you know. And Liberia was in the background, Nigeria was in the background. So I just looked at Jopo and I just started shouting, "Ole, ole, ole, ole!" And you know that is catchy. Everyone joined in, and it was wonderful in the end. And as we speak right now, that is the most trending video from these championships. From America to Asia to Mexico, everyone is sharing
he's bought it.
on TikTok.
He's bought it.
Fatu, I want to pick your thoughts on something. In recent times, if you take a look at Liberia, especially with Matadi and Fambule, they appear to be a team that is gradually grinding out results on the track. And this clearly suggests that probably something is happening in Liberia athletics, isn't it?
Yeah, and what is happening is that a lot of and even the women, the women were also here, by the way. Unfortunately, they didn't qualify. But what is happening is a lot of the Liberians that were born and raised in the U.S. are deciding to compete for Liberia.
Yeah.
So if you look at 3 members of that team that ran yesterday, including Fambule himself, born and raised in America, just made the decision to compete for Liberia. The women team is made up of entirely athletes that were born and raised in the U.S. So that is exactly the movement that is happening in Liberia. Because back home in itself, it's hard to find real facilities to get athletes there to get out of that system. But Liberia obviously has very strong connections with the U.S. It's a strong Liberian population in the U.S. And a lot of these young ones, of course, all of them inspired by Matadi, are deciding that Liberia is worth it. And look at Fambule. When he took the baton yesterday in that he was in 5th place. And then he ran down 3 people to finish 2nd and get that automatic qualifying ticket for Liberia. So I'm very happy for them. Bronze medal at the African Games. Now they're going to the Olympic Games for the first time ever. And possibly Matadi and maybe, or no, not even maybe, for sure Fambule will qualify for the 200 meters in the individual event. Matadi might make the 100. He's been to a couple of Olympic Games in the past. So it's something wonderful to see. The other wonderful thing to see is the Ivorian women as well, because this team had been together for a while. Obviously, with the presence of Muriel Ahure and Marie-Jose Talu, the other members of the team, Bai and Rai, the 2 of them are fairly new. And they were very unfortunate in Budapest because Talu fell. And this is a team that, so many people had tipped to do really good things. And it was good to see them finally, making another appearance at the Paris Olympic Games. And if there's one thing that I would tip from Africa in the 4x1s to make the podium, it would be the Ivorian women. They just need to get their acts right, get those 2 young athletes to get maybe an extra 0.5 seconds faster, and they could really be on course to cause big upsets because they've got a great ankle leg runner in Talu.
Yeah.
Muriel is former African record holder in the 100 meters. Yeah. She's got a great start off the block. That back straight for Bai as well, impressive. They just need to get those 2 to get maybe a few microseconds faster. And Côte d'Ivoire could really be a big, big problem in Paris 2024. You add to the fact that Paris is more like home to these Ivorians, and they could be in to cause real problems. But I think yesterday's biggest highlight has to go to Botswana, right?
Yeah.
Botswana ends up in the 1-2 in the 4x4, because yesterday, if it wasn't for Botswana, the USA would have swept every single relay event from this championship. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
The USA won mixed 4x4. They won women 4x4. They won men 4x4. They won men 4x1. They won women 4x1. That's 4 gold medals. And then the only place, because there were 5 relay events that were contested here, the only place they were stopped was in the men's 4x4. thanks to Botswana, who did a 1-2 alongside South Africa. So they made the continent proud. So in other words, outside of the USA, the only other country to get a gold medal from these relays is Botswana, an African country, thanks mostly to Tibogo's ridiculous 43 split in that final.
Fentio, are you hungry?
Am I what?
Are you hungry?
Hungry?
You need Kivo 4-in-1 Gary to eat.
Did you carry Kivo? Did you bag Kivo to
Did you carry
Bahamas?
Kivo?
Why would you say that? I'm full. I'm relaxing in the beach.
You have to keep Kivo small. You eat Gary on the beach.
Kivo Gary with you. It is
Kivo Gary on the beach.
Soaking mix, simple, straight. You
Quick.
get granite inside.
Quick.
You get milk inside.
Sugar.
Everything there.
All
Just
you need
add
is
water. Then you're soaking.
Beach water.
Anyway, enjoy your time, but there's still doom so you'll be back.
Yes. It is doom CSA. Yes.
Look, as much as I'm here, I can't wait to be back, man. I miss you guys.
See you.
Come and eat at 2 a.m. Fetio Tahiru speaking to us from Bahamas. He watched the release quite close and he interacted with many of the athletes, including Ghanaian athletes, as you heard from the athletes. And also, he also had a very extensive conversation with them that we'll be bringing to you in our subsequent bulletins. But we need to take a quick break right now, and then when we come back, we'll be talking football. We are back from the break. This is Sports Zone. I am Muftau Nabila Abla. This show is proudly brought to you by Kivo 4-in-1 Gary Soakings Mix. And if you are feeling hungry, the only and easiest way to fill your hunger is get Kivo 4-in-1 Gary Soakings Mix, because it has granite in it, crunchy granite. It has milk in it. It has crispy curry. That's the easiest thing for you to fill your hunger. All you need is just to add water and you are good to go. No stress. Just then the crowd say, I don't do well. It is delicious. Quite a delicious taste that it gives you. Enjoy it at the office, boarding house, home, or anywhere you want. It is available in various markets and retail shops nationwide. Kivo 4-in-1 Gary Soakings Mix. Soakings are easy. This advert is FDA approved. And also, special tank. What a tank. What a tank. What a tank. Syntex tank. They have made it easier for you to be able to get any level of water you want. So, what is your preferred color of tank? Syntex has it. What guarantee do you want? Syntex has it as well. What kind of inner layer do you want? Double, triple, quadruple, as many inner layers you want, Syntex has it too. So remember, no matter your water needs, Syntex has it. Syntex tank, are you strong, are you tough? And we have over 300 agents nationwide. So get in touch with them via 0244 33 5168, 0244 33 168, or also visit Syntex on social media at Syntex Ghana or shop online on www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough, and Johnny Walker, just keep walking. Let's do some Ghana Premier League stories now, and we'll go straight to Kumasi, where Kumasi Asante Kotoko came up against Legon Cities on Sunday. They secured a 2-0 win over Legon Cities, but the drama was the colors of the jersey used by both teams. Let's take a look at the highlights, come back, take a look at full results of match day 29 in the Ghana Premier League, and my gentlemen in studio will dissect the issues. Kotoko 1-2-0, but the Ghana Football Association, they have charged Legon Cities for the jersey colors, which is almost like that of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Let's take a look at the Ghana Premier League table after match day 29. And we have Samatex still sitting at the top of the Premier League table with 52 points. Nations FC have got 45. Accra Lions 44. Ediana Stars, they have got 43 points. They drew earlier today against Accra Lions. Mediama SC won against Great Olympics, they've got 43 points as well. Inshortman, 42. Bechim United, 41. Brekum Chelsea will come up against Accra House of Oak. They've got 41 points. And Guyana Ghost has 40. Asante Kotoko have also got 40. Legon Cities are 11th, 38 points. Kerala United, 37. House of Oak are 13th, 35. Then Akranti's team is fighting with relegation, or they are playing with relegation. I don't know which is which. And it is the Langas versus the Landlords. They are occupying 13th and 14th. Great Olympics are 14 with 33 points. Tano Bufakwa are 33 points. They are 15th. Dreams FC, they've played 25 matches. They've got 32 points. So they have 4 outstanding matches to play. If they are able to win them, that's 12 points. So they will go up there. Heart of Lions, 32. Real Tamale United, 28. So this is how the Ghana Premier League table looks like. And Sichu, House of Oak, what is happening in the Phobia family? It appears they've taken the baton over from Kotoko. They didn't drop it.
Yeah, I remember there was a time where when a new manager came in and they had won a couple of games and
3 games on the
looked
bounce.
like they were playing well. I thought I said it here that I'm not going to read too much meaning into it. I don't think there was necessarily a method to those victories that they were getting. I just still thought they had the same problems that we saw at the start of the season. But the new managerial bounce could help, or was helping at the time. And it's just team building for Hearts of Oak, really, just team building. The quality of players they have there, questionable. They have some very good individuals, but if you're talking about a team that can give you consistency in wins and in points tally and get you to compete, I don't think they have enough to work with. What Kotoko and Hearts must understand is that, especially in Ghana Premier League, is that there might be several players good enough to play for, with a greater respect to the other teams. They'll be good enough to play for those teams and perform well. But when you wear that Hearts of Oak jersey or the Kotoko jersey, the pressure is different. And what a lot of Ghanaian players are not ready for or prepared for because of the way they are brought up, not through proper academy systems or what have you, is the pressure that comes with playing with Kotoko or Hearts of Oak. And so a lot of very good... We saw Kayake at Kotoko. I mean, he couldn't play.
We even saw Baba Mahama.
There are many players.
Many talents.
Many talents. Who have come to Hearts or Kotoko, who have left Hearts and Kotoko to other teams just the next season and have become superstars in these teams.
He was a beast for Medium and SC. He came to Kotoko and was a different thing.
Absolutely. So that is it. So they have some good players, but as to whether they have the character, the personality to wear the pressure on and stay consistent throughout the season, the answer for me is no. So team building, squad building, if they are able to produce their own players, and that is why big teams are looking at producing their own players or getting players in early so they can groom them. If they're able to produce their own players and get the club culture running through them, that is better. Otherwise, the newly emerging football clubs who don't have the pressure that Kotoko and Hearts have will start dominating the Ghana Premier League. And Kotoko and Hearts will win one goal off, come back later, win one goal off, come back later. Not good enough.
And granted, should Hearts of Oak continue to trust the process with Abubakar?
As I've even faced Brekum Chelsea, you won't talk about a team who was wearing the same jersey as another team. Sometimes this team...
Kotoko, they've now won 2. They've drawn 1.
Charlie, you see what we are doing here this Monday? Remember there was a couple of episodes where we've opened Zoom lines, people have called in.
Yeah.
You see, people are calling from outside Ghana. We have international viewers. We are showing the Ghana Premier League like this. We are marketing the league. So the people in charge of the league also have to do their job. Because when we sit on various platforms, our colleagues elsewhere showing the league, talking about it, we are trying to market it, put it out there. But if somebody in Mali is watching a Ghana Premier League game where the 2 teams are wearing the same color, he doesn't know Legon City, and he doesn't know Kotoko. You are Ghanaian, you've watched them enough. So when you see, you can see the difference.
Even you will struggle.
But they don't know. So they are looking at it and you've kind of asking me a House of Oak like there's nothing wrong. The people are confused. They just watch highlights of 2 teams wearing the same jersey. And you are saying House of Oak.
So I dodging the question.
No, it's not like I'm dodging. It's very
he's talking about the more relevant things to talk about.
They should stop.
And it's a shame, it really is.
It's a shame. It's
a big shame.
Why should we... You see, on a level, it's a business, not a charity. No, to be honest, it's a business and not a charity. It's not...
But like, difference is more.
No, when he picked
If you talk,
jerseys.
then people will come and defend. How can you be defending?
No,
it's 2024.
no, but
Charlie.
this indeed is embarrassing to see this. When I saw the charge from the Ghana Football Association, in fact, it was quite swift.
I don't care about
by
this
9
thing.
p.m.
Why are they even playing the game?
This was so avoidable. The
Why
child
are you playing the game?
The child makes the damage has already been
It's
done.
reactionary.
And apparently, Legon cities refused to change their jersey.
I don't care. Why did the match go on?
Where's the match commissioner though? You know,
If
where's the
Man U says they to the world blue when they are facing Chelsea, would the Premier League match commissioner say, okay, play first half? They will go and take white shirts for the second half.
And Danny, I've been around the Ghana Premier League long enough. At 10 a.m. on match days, and if it's international game, it's the day before. 10 a.m. on match day, there's a pre-match meeting between the club, the referees, the match commissioner, and everybody. Every
Including
club,
even security.
including security, broadcasters, and everything.
Submit everything.
The club team manager normally goes there with the jersey they would wear, including the goalkeeper strip. Now, if Kotoko comes and says, we wear our home jersey, it is red. And in fact, they will mention the color of every strip. So it's a red top with a red shorts with a red hose. Then the way team will say, ours is a white top with a blue pants with a white hose. Then referees are you okay? Match commissioner, okay, tick. Are they telling me that during that pre-game meeting, Kotoko mentioned or showed the jersey they were going to wear, and Lagos Cities came and showed what they were going to wear, and between the referees and the match commissioner, they agreed, that, and the TV broadcasters as well, they agreed that these colors are good enough to go on air. Is that what they are trying to say?
Probably.
So what the FA has put out about sanctioning, they have to sack the match commissioner first. They have to deal with those referees as well first, because they chair the pre-match meetings. So how did those jerseys actually get out of the tunnel? Because without their approval, those jerseys are not coming out. Terrible.
Danny?
What basa thing is this? Oh, it's embarrassing.
No, it is. It really
You
is.
spoke about national team opening up opportunities for you.
Yeah.
If the league is doing well,
Bro.
and look at how we read into Egyptian league, Moroccan league.
Oh yes.
When you go into and all these things.
You were in Morocco
No,
to cover.
Don't go far. Dreams FC's campaign has taken a lot of Ghanaian journalists across the continent because they've been following them and their progress. But here we are.
So that you know, we'll talk about.
I'm not going to talk about the thing. Say, let's stop this thing. What's this?
So now let's talk Heart of Oak.
We've moved on. As having played.
No, it's tiring. It is tiring.
The conversation becomes sometimes a bit monotonous and mundane to have. You look at the issues and we keep talking about them year on. Yeah. So it's
24 too. We are talking about this thing.
Year in, year out. So let's move on and talk about other stories. And then we are going to Europe. Eric Ten Hag.
No jersey clashes. No, they are doing football. We are playing. They are doing it. We are just playing.
So our game is more of a pastime?
Yeah, we are just focused on getting teams onto the pitch for 90 minutes. Anything else is not necessary. That is playing football. Those who are doing football are looking at before the game, during the game, post the game, the whole season, how to make money, how to make it pleasant for you and I to watch. There's no doubt that talking about the Premier League.
You and I are having the money.
Yeah.
When we watch, that's where they make money. So if they don't have eyeballs, they don't have money.
There's no doubt now. There's no doubt. And I know that some Ghanaian football fanatics will say, but there's no doubt now, as we speak, that discussing the English Premier League would have more relevance to our audience than discussing the Ghana Premier League. It's just a statement of fact.
No,
it's not like I'm happy about it, but
it's been like that for many years. It's been like for the last 8, 9, 10 years.
Let's give the audience what they want to hear.
Okay. Man United, Crystal Palace.
Danny, please.
He's passed the ball to you.
Another defeat for Man United. Not too surprising if you've monitored what Crystal Palace have been doing under Glasner. Glasner ball is beautiful.
It really is.
It's very effective. It's exciting to watch. And again, I'll use the word again. It's effective. So they don't just entertain. They entertain and they get goals. They win. They are doing really well, Crystal Palace. And when you also put it against what Man United have been doing throughout the season, the fact that they are conceding shots for fun, conceding chances for fun, conceding goals for fun, you could almost guess the scoreline. And especially from an unemotional point of view, if you're looking at it strictly football, you knew that Crystal Palace would come out and dominate the game. If Man United didn't play out of themselves, and United played typically what they've been doing all season, and Crystal Palace were by far the better team, deserved to win. You just begin to ask yourself, if Palace had a bit more quality, what could the scoreline have been?
Like Jordan Ayew.
Like Jordan Ayew. Yeah, he came on the last 5 minutes. I don't know why the coach didn't throw him on in the second half, like a quick hat trick. But that's cool. Look, for Man United, things seriously need to improve. It's really not the best. And again, I'm going at the school of thought that is sort of blame players, saying they've done their tools. I don't understand how a player can see European football at stake. And this is what happened about 2 seasons ago, where with about 4 or 5 matches to go, Man United were still in the position to fight for a title. The team was losing and people were going at players that they've stopped playing.
Yeah.
A team has a Champions League position to fight for, and you think a player doesn't want to, when their contracts will be affected if they don't make Champions League football, when it will affect their pockets.
Their pockets
if they
as
don't
well,
make
yeah.
Champions League football. If United don't qualify for Europe, it's going to affect the pockets of these same players who will be at the club. So I don't get that. And again, last season, everybody was saying the manager was a hero with basically the same group of players. He improved the squad per his own assessment, and we are seeing something completely of the opposite of what happened last season, and this time is the player's fault. There's something that doesn't sit. Manager needs to take responsibility, and he needs to sit up. He looked clueless today. He's looked clueless the whole of the season. And football doesn't lie. When you play a 38-game season over a 10-month period, it's a reflection of consistency. And Man United, where they are, is a reflection of who they are in terms of the direction, the structure, the coaching.
Yeah.
You decoded them here just a few weeks ago, and you pointed out how the flaws of this team.
Ten Hag doesn't listen. When I text him, he doesn't reply.
Blue ticked.
Blue tick. You call him, he will mind you. So this is what will happen.
No, look. The excuses are too much, right? And you've come through the whole season without necessarily changing anything to affect the way United have played this season. And for almost every game that United have played, the problems and the errors that happens in the team are reoccurring. Like you need to have just a little bit of an idea of football to realize how you're going to be Man United. They have no midfielder whatsoever. The team cohesion is terrible. The structure exposes. You see, it doesn't matter who plays in the Man United team. Believe me, the structure under which they are operating exposes every player in there. You can't tell me all the players at the club are terrible and are bad and have no ambition, they have no dream. These are boys who, when they were young, some of them were dreaming of playing for Man United and now wear the badge. You can't tell me that all of a sudden, overnight, they are terrible footballers. But they are playing under structures that doesn't allow them to perform well. And over time, they've looked average, some of them have lost confidence. And now it's the manager who has to find another way of getting the team to play. In the Eredivisie, you can go the whole season playing the same way. Nobody maybe will find you out. In the Premier League, if you play 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, every coach, all his assistants, and all the analysts are finding you out. They are looking at how to beat you, and they are planning for you weeks before they meet you. And Erik ten Hag's Man United have been found out by every team, including championship teams. And that is why when Coventry played against Man United, they did exactly what the Premier League clubs would do. And they were unlucky not to have won that game, in fact. And that is why when you watch Pep Guardiola, around December, January, he's completely changing his tactics. He changes something that is new to everybody. We've seen Ange Postecoglou had a great start to the season with the way he was playing. He's been found out.
All of a sudden.
We've seen Roberto De Zerbi. He's still a great manager.
Yeah.
Brighton still play very brilliant football, but teams have found the solutions, right? And the reason why Pep is decoding this Premier League thing is, last season, the treble season, when the season started, he was playing Joao Cancelo as the more advanced defender who would go high up the pitch, invert and everything and do everything. When Cancelo had this issue and they shipped him out last season to Bayern Munich, he started doing the Akanji and John Stones thing. It was new to everybody in the game, including Europe. This season, he's changed things. When you're a manager, you need to realize that when others are catching up to you and change something. People talk about players down in tools at Man United. I personally think it's the manager who is down tools because he's not done anything in the last month to show that he's changing something about the team. Because there's no shame now in Man United being defensive. Right? There's no shame now in Man United trying to be a bit more cautious, pragmatic, defensive, and maybe use pace to counter. He doesn't do anything like that. The team is open, it's expansive from minutes 1 to 90, and they are not winning games. For me, it's more of a manager problem than the players that they've got. But ultimately, the club from the top, the structure, as they've had over the past years, is also a problem. When that is fixed, as it is said, it is being fixed. Is Erik ten Hag still a good tactician? Is Erik ten Hag still a good man manager? These are the questions that I think Man United hierarchy needs to answer. Because even with a good structure, if he's not a good tactician for the Premier League, there's not a good man manager, he won't win them games.
What Sicho says clearly suggests that Ten Hag is more of a substandard manager who told the world that errors come to an end, and unfortunately, he's not been able to end those errors.
Oh, substandard for me will be a bit harsh. There are levels. There are levels. And
so he's substandard for the Premier League?
And again...
Or for the club?
No, he's a good coach, just maybe not at the Man United level, at this time of Man United's problems.
And again, you see, I'll be fair to him. Last season was good. Last season was really good. You expect managers of this caliber, when you are managing a club like Man United, to build on successes. You don't regress. You go for it. And for Ten Hag, he hasn't done that. This season has been a total sham. It's been a total failure. Look at United in the league, in the Champions League, finishing bottom of the group. That is inexplicable. And again, he needs to take responsibility. As to whether he should get the sack or not, I'm not the one who hired him.
So you don't... But I saw your tweet that said they should sack him.
I can have an opinion, but I'm not the one who hired him. So. Me too, I said they should hire him in the first place.
Yes.
And they hired him. If I say they should sack him, they sack. Cool.
So they should sack him?
I'll call this thing.
Who?
What's his name?
Jim Cliff?
Jimmy.
Right. Okay. But there appears to be an opposite when you go to London for Arsenal. Many actually thought that always in the last 4 or 5 games for Arsenal, they crumble. But this season, it appears something is happening at the Emirates. What is it that is working out for Arsenal?
Look, I said at the start of the season, when you are building a team for success, there are certain things you have to go through. You don't just get up and go and win a league title. Sometimes you have to learn. Both manager, players, the group of players, they have to go through certain experiences. That's what shapes you. That's what opens your eye and gives you that ability to go through a season, a tough season, especially when you're competing against top managers like Klopp, like Pep. You have to go through certain things in order to be able to win. And when you look at what Arsenal have gone through in the past 2-3 seasons, you can tell that this group is slowly growing. They've suffered missing out on Champions League football on the, was it 2 games to the end of the season? Yeah. Last season, they were leading the Premier League title. I said they were not going to win because it was so obvious they were not going to. They had never been in that situation before. And then just when it mattered, they crumbled. This time around, most people expected what happened last season to happen. But you don't go through, especially when you have the ability, you don't go through the same situation and crumble in the same way. When you have the ability and you've gone through certain lows, you expect that you learn from it. And for us now, to be fair to them, they suffered missing out on Champions League football season before. Most people were saying, okay, fine, we'll finish in top 4. And immediately the following season, they were competing for a title. They come back again. People think, oh, would they be able to sustain? They are competing for a title again. And this time, they are showing it. 2 games to the end of the season, they are sitting on top of the league. Obviously, City have a game in hand, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen, Mufta. It's going to happen, Sicho.
Well,
but it is City's title to lose, isn't it?
It is happening. Let me tell you, this is a free prophecy. It's a free prophecy. People have been asking me to, this is what I'm telling you. On the 11th of May, 11:30 a.m., Fulham versus Manchester City. That's when the title is won.
Perfecto.
And that's the thing about Man City. And at this time of the season, City have been able to build, and because they've got experience. Listen, City are on their way to win the Premier League for the 4th time in a row. And that is going to take them to 6 in the last 7 years. And some of the players who have done this twice already, some have done this 3 times, some have done this 4 times. So they've got a group of players who have got huge experience for this time of the season. And when you are going into games, and over the weekend you thought City are going into a game that could potentially be tricky, but they've got a way to that when they go into those games, they sap that pressure out of that game and easily make it a no context around this time of the season because they know how to deal with the pressure. And that is what Liverpool couldn't handle. And that is what Arsenal maybe couldn't handle against Aston Villa. Because at this time of the season, if you're a coach and you don't deal with the pressure well, your players, you're missing necessary chances, you're making tactical changes that is not necessary because of all the pressure and what have you. But Pep Guardiola and the City team can make those tactical changes and still win. They can miss, some players can miss big chances and somebody bails them out because they've got experience, they've got the patience about them. And that is why I said that I thought with 8 games to go, with the way the table was looking at that time, how Liverpool were playing, I thought Liverpool were going to win. But I said if Liverpool slipped, it wouldn't be for Arsenal to capitalize. It would be for City. And as it stands now, I don't see how City are going to drop any of those points that are left. They've been here before. They've always done it. And it's going to be very harsh on Arsenal because they've done their best. But when you want to win the league, there are points you don't drop. And at home to Villa is that game that when the season ends, sorry to them and sorry to Arsenal fans, will play back on their minds.
They'll look back at it and say, what actually happened?
That game. And Mikel Arteta himself will look at it and be thinking, should he have played the way he had always played before that game? Or was it necessary for that he made that tactical change and bringing Kai Havertz into the middle? I explained it last time. I get the thinking behind it. But I still thought that the way Arsenal played prior to that game was still good enough to beat Villa on the day, but it wasn't to be.
It's quite unfortunate that Arsenal have Man City have an outstanding game because people have been talking about how Thomas Partey have made Arsenal quite strong since his return to that setup.
Look, he's been brilliant, but they've basically maintained their level. And that's something we also mentioned at the start of the season. In fact, last season, 2 seasons ago, when Partey got injured, Arsenal were in trouble. Yeah. Partey has basically missed the entire season. Arsenal are sitting on top of the Premier League table. They've been competing at all levels. It's just the ability to have options. And that's what top managers, teams that want to compete for titles need options in various positions and players who can do different things at different times. So when Arsenal brought in Declan Rice, most people thought he was going to be that replacement for Thomas Partey. The season has started and we've seen Arteta use Rice and Partey, Rice and Jorginho. Different options, but still Arsenal are able to win games. And that touch of unpredictability is what Sichu mentioned it earlier, especially in a league like the Premier League where managers are smart and can figure you out easily. When you have an abundance of options, you can change and switch things. You always have a trick up your sleeve. And for me, I'm happy that this Arsenal team they've been able to build a team that can do that and has put them in that position where they can win a league title. For me, it's massive progress to the entire project, the entire Arsenal project.
If they go this season without a trophy, though, I think it's just to lose. Arsenal mind in the end. It's football, anything could happen. If they go this season without a trophy, though, where would that place Arsenal? Would it be a season where you look back and, because they've moved levels higher than last season. You're thinking the cup games, that defeat to Bayern Munich still means they are not quite there yet. That defeat to Villa in this crucial time of the season means maybe they're not. How big a blow would that be for Mikel Arteta's project, considering how they lost out of the Caps?
Look, personally, the way I view this Arsenal project is strictly according to competing in the league. Because let's take it back. Before Arteta came, before Emery came, Arsenal had won 3 FA Cups in a row. Yeah. They were winning the cup competitions for fun, but they were struggling in the league. And they are struggling in the league for a very long time. Now, the league is where you measure your success because that's the only competition where...
Consistent
consistency is measured. So, Emery comes in, he takes them to a Europa League final. He doesn't win. Then Arteta comes, he wins the cup. Arteta won the cup in his first 6 months, but that wasn't deemed success because Arsenal were still struggling in the league. Now, what Arteta has been able to do is to put Arsenal in the conversation of a league title every season. Yeah. It would be nice if they win a trophy and attach a trophy to that. But I think that job of restoring Arsenal to that position
title,
where when we are talking about the title,
club.
Yes, they are strongly mentioned in there. I think he's done a good job. It will make sense for him to win it, to cement it like what Klopp did. Klopp didn't just put Liverpool, he won it. And now Liverpool have a trophy, so you can't overlook them. Arsenal also need to win the league. But I think it will also be smart, especially for Arteta and this group of players, to have a sense of winning. The team that won the FA Cup they're all gone.
No, it's gone. So, far gone. Everybody's gone.
So I would think that next season, target one of the small. Don't leave it for Ten Hag and Man U. Target some of the, maybe Carabao Cup or FA Cup. Yeah. Win that one whilst...
They need to win something. They need to celebrate something.
It always gives you
them going.
You need a party.
Yeah.
Town drawing 1-1 against Everton. Arsenal 1-3 against Brentford 0, Fulham 0. Burnley 1, Newcastle United 4, Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 3, Manchester City 5, Wolves 1, Chelsea 5, West Ham 0, Brighton 1, Aston Villa 0, Liverpool 4, Tottenham Hotspur 2, Crystal Palace 4, Manchester United 0. And this is how it stands right now. Arsenal at the top, played one more than Manchester City. They've got 83 points. Manchester City have got 82. And Liverpool, they are third with 78. Aston Villa have got 67. Tottenham Hotspur 60. Newcastle United 56. Chelsea 54. Man United 54. West Ham United 49. And Antoine Semenyo's, they've got 48 points in the Premier League and they're 10th on the league table. UEFA Champions League football next, and you will have to join us at Kista's Lounge at Mataiko. The Joy Sports team will be there as PSG comes against Borussia Dortmund. It is the second leg of this tie. Borussia Dortmund have got a one goal advantage as they head to the second leg. And on Wednesday, we'll be at Heritage Craft Brewery at East Legon near ANC. And you'll have to join us there as we bring you the game involving Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. So tomorrow we are at Kital's Lounge, and on Wednesday we'll be at Heritage Craft Brewery. Gentlemen, big games coming up. Two teams to make it to a final. Which of these teams are you looking at?
Dortmund lead 1-0, but in Paris, look, Mbappe will do it.
Mbappe will do it for PSG.
PSG had their opportunities despite Dortmund's good game at in Borussia, but PSG will do it. Mbappe is there, so he's going to the final for sure. And that Madrid-Bayern game, in as much as I think Tuchel will do it, it's Real Madrid. I don't even know what I'm talking about. In the ball safe. It's Real Madrid. Real Madrid is qualified.
Sicho, who does it for you?
No, listen, I think Real Madrid will go through, especially when the game is going to be decided at Bernabeu. And Madrid need a result to go through. I think they've got what it takes. They will go through. And that was Bayern Munich's best game of the season, by the way, and they still didn't win. I'm not sure they repeat that. I don't think they can play as well as they did at the Allianz Arena at the Bernabeu when they play against Real Madrid. Courtois is back. Alaba is back. Militao has minutes in his leg. Carvajal has returned from his suspension. Jude Bellingham, last week he was sick. This week he is fit. They have a better team. I think Real Madrid goes through. I also think Dortmund will upset PSG in Paris. So,
okay, Madrid-Dortmund final. This show proudly brought to you by Syntex, Johnny Walker, and Kivo 4-in-1 Gary. Thanks very much for being a part of our show tonight. Continue to enjoy the rest of our programs. We appreciate your time.